This video will explain what the ROT-54 is and how you can visit it. Located in Armenia, 40 kilometers northwest of capital, the Orgov Radio-Optical Telescope is a globally unique scientific and technical structure that integrates both radio and optical astronomical technologies. Initiated by Professor Paris Herouni, this exceptional instrument stands as one of the most impressive examples of Soviet-era scientific and engineering innovation. The telescope was designed as a highly precise and technically advanced complex that combines radio and optical observation systems, enabling unique observational capabilities. The technology wasn't futuristic. It was analog, mechanical, and deeply hands-on. But for its time, it was incredibly advanced. And now, how to visit Radio Telescope. There are several ways to access the site. One option is to join a guided tour from Yerevan, which typically costs around $100 per person. Another option is to register your visit through the official website. However, this process is quite formal. You need to submit a written request explaining the purpose of your visit, provide a list of all visitors along with passport or ID copies, include proof of payment to an Armenian bank, and attach a copy of the payer's passport. We initially tried to arrange our visit through this official channel, but unfortunately, we never received a response to our emails. Alternatively, you can book tours through platforms like TripAdvisor or local operators such as Urban Armenia Tours, which offer visits for around €57 per person. You'll find all the relevant links in the description below. Meanwhile, how we got into the site? We arrived near the gates of Telescope and decided to try our luck getting inside. At the entrance, we found the guards relaxing outside, smoking near the gate. The atmosphere felt very casual, but at the same time, we were clearly being observed. To them, we probably looked like suspicious visitors, maybe even Western spies or people trying to gather information from an old Soviet site. We explained that we wanted to visit and offered the official entrance fee, which is around $6.50 per person. But they still didn't let us in right away. Instead, they were hesitant and told us to come back in about half an hour. They asked for a phone number so they could contact us later. We understood that this was partly negotiation, partly uncertainty, a normal situation in more remote places like this. We left and waited nearby, expecting that we might not get in at all. But about 30 minutes later, they actually called. The message was simple. If we returned within 10 minutes, we could enter the site. So we drove back immediately. This time, things were different. They opened the gates and they simply let us in without much questioning. No documents, no detailed checks, just a relaxed, go ahead and look around. Inside, we were free to explore the site at our own pace. The scale of the antenna and the silence of the surroundings made it feel almost unreal. When we finished the visit, the guards collected the official entrance fee, exactly as agreed, nothing more. There were no formalities. One important thing to keep in mind. In situations like this, speaking either Russian or Armenian is essential. Without it, communication, and even getting access, would be much more difficult. On the surface, ROT-54 was a scientific instrument, a radio telescope designed to capture signals from deep space. But like many projects of that era, it existed in the shadow of something larger. A stationary primary mirror, 54 meters in diameter and spherical in shape. With its enormous dish, it could detect incredibly faint radio waves, signals that had traveled across galaxies for millions, even billions of years. After visiting the observatory, we also attempted to reach the Aragats Alpine State Sanctuary, located about 25 kilometers to the north via mountain roads. However, when we arrived, the road was still covered with deep, melting snow. Even our 4x4 Neva couldn't make it through, so unfortunately, we couldn't capture any footage of the Aragats Mountains. Back to ROT-54. There was a hidden side most people never think about: the maintenance rooms. While the giant dish outside was pointed at the sky, everything depended on what was happening behind the walls. Large screens showing moving waveforms, walls of buttons, dials and meters adjust telescope direction, fine-tune frequencies, and control signal gain and sensitivity. Controls connected to the giant dish outside. Scientists would record hours of data and replay it later for analysis. Signals were recorded on magnetic tapes. Nearby, calibration rooms were filled with instruments where technicians carefully tuned receivers, adjusting them until they could pick up the faintest possible waves from distant galaxies. Deeper inside, mechanical workshops echoed with the sound of tools. The massive moving dish outside relied on gears, motors, and joints that had to be constantly repaired and lubricated. Every movement of the telescope across the sky depended on this hidden mechanical work. The observatory ran day and night, so human endurance was just as important as machinery. Since the facility was far from major industrial centers, everything needed to be repaired on site. Nothing could simply be replaced quickly. And in between all of this, there were quiet rooms where technicians rested, wrote logs, and prepared for long shifts. Today, ROT-54 still stands in the Armenian mountains. Once built in secrecy and tension, now searching the stars in silence. From listening for threats to listening to the universe.